And thought I'd just post a video. I mean, it's been God knows how long, there's no real consistency, and it's just like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do something today. So, thought I'd do something traditional, but not. Today, we are going to be playing Kaiserreich, of course, with the newest update, Garibaldi's Nightmare. And I actually kind of figured out the background. Apparently, Garibaldi was an Italian general during the Italian Unification Wars. I could be mixing this up, but I don't have it on hand. I just kind of went across it by accident. It's just like random stuff, but yeah. I'm doing traditional, but not traditional in the sense, not traditional in it not being the base game. Being traditional by playing the most overplayed nation ever is the German Empire. And it's just something a little bit different. So, of course, we're gonna skip through all of this. I'm gonna turn down the music just a little bit because sometimes they say it can be a bit touchy when it comes to YouTube and copyright and stuff like that. So, okay, that's a little louder than usual. There we go. Just about to drop my phone. Nice. Okay, so, well, like I said, traditional but not traditional. So, of course, usually everybody goes with the imperial restructuring, get that little bit of political power, and go ahead. For me, I like to prioritize industry and engineering to just go ahead and knock those out of the way, because those are some big ones, in my opinion. Now, for some people, they might go into other directions, but it just depends on what you think is worth prioritizing. And so we have our 80 divisions of miscellaneous stuff. So we go ahead and make sure we bring them all to the homeland, because in this mod, colonies are nice. You have plenty of them, like Morocco, of course, Deutsches Mittelafrika. And then you have like the little German-held territories of Djibouti, Ceylon, and then Madagascar, and then what used to be German colonies in East Asia that you would actually have extra divisions. But in the newest update, they actually ended up giving it to its own little nation called Deutsches Ostasien. And it's actually kind of a cool concept, and I'll kind of touch on that later. For military, for me, I just like a defense. I mostly play defensive, but for this, I do like tactical bombers because of the new strategic bombing stuff that they've done. So for me, it's mostly kind of get everything even out, and then we kind of pace it back. Okay. So I know I want another line of this. The stuff that usually costs the more, or I need more of in the long run, I usually put closer to the top. I'm gonna round off the infantry equipment and get more tanks, aircraft. So it's 5, 8, 11, 13. Okay. Go, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of boost up the French border, and we'll go from there. As for the Navy, I'm going to actually, I think I'm just gonna do my regular setup that I like to do, which my setup is trying to get a nice balance of what what I think would be in real life a decent group, but yet again, that's real life compared to what the game is. For instance, I'll usually like 4 battleships per group. I don't usually use battle cruisers. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. And usually it's just like double up on everything. So it's like you have 2 times of the cover for the crucial ships. So usually I go battleships 4, heavy cruisers 8, and I need heavy cruiser again. I don't know why my thing keeps moving. Light cruisers. I'll do 8 of those as well, because I'm just gonna do like a little mixture of this, because the light cruisers are also mixed in with the destroyers and how they're screening ships. Ah, stop. Why do you do this to me? Keeps adjusting. What? Frustrating. Okay, then we got everything relatively set up. And we just go ahead and start. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Another thing I like to do with my Air Force, I don't mess with the carriers. The carriers I do not touch, because they're like their own special thing, and I usually only mess with the regular land-based aircraft. So the only shit. Okay, try this again. The only real reason why I decided to do Kaiserreich, other than like, let's say, Road 56 or the modern day mod, yada yada yada. The only reason why is because these last couple games I had very interesting occurrences. So to put for an example, my last Germany game, I went to war early with the Commune of France after they escalated the Rhineland crisis. And I was like, okay, this is going to be relatively simple. I can just hold fast and just build up my economy after that. Because at this point, Black Monday had hit, and I was literally getting nothing. It was literally nothing. And so what ended up happening was the complete opposite. I held them, yes, but Britain and the Socialist Republic of Italy kept naval invading me in non-port provinces in this area. And what was really frustrating about that is the fact that it was not getting a port, and they weren't doing anything about it to change it. And so it was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm gaining a lot of casualties on them. Couldn't think. And it's like, okay, this is actually turning well for me. Well, you know what happens to counteract this sudden loss of life? Apparently, Russia decided to go full communist. They went totalist underneath General Tukashev. Hold on. I'm going to try to pronounce this. I freaking just cocked it up. General Tukhachevsky. And his faction is the totalist in the Soviet Republic. Flag looks pretty cool. I'll give him that. But other than that, it was kind of bad. And they immediately joined the International. Now, this didn't immediately mess with me. Excuse me one second. And because what ended up happening was they declared war on the Kingdom of Finland. Now, I had already invited them to the Reichspakt, but it just, I was like, okay, I don't need to deal with that, it's not my problem. What happens is they invite the United Baltic Duchy, they invited Belarusia, and they invited the Kingdom of Ukraine. All those nations fell. The only thing that was preventing me from actually not capitulating immediately was Poland and Lithuania. Those two nations had not fallen and or been declared war on. So I was like, okay, I've got a stable border. Things are fine. Not literally like almost a full month after this whole spiel, and the Russians started naval invading through areas right here and right here, but they were doing the same thing as the Italians and the Brits were doing. It is just not invading a port. They couldn't do a port, and so I still kept having to do mop-up operations, but my economy was still very stagnant. I had actually gotten out and only gotten to minus 90%. So there was something, but it was not as much as one would hope. And so what ended up happening is I got an event. Now, I didn't think of it at the moment. I got an event that said Swiss refugees. I'm like, okay, cool. Wait, why am I getting Swiss refugees? What ended up happening is something happened in Switzerland and they went communist or syndicalist, and the people were fleeing. It's like, okay, shit. Good. I don't have the troops. I don't have anything. And so it literally became a domino effect after that. And the Switzerland eventually turned into the Helvetic Commune. I think I said that right. And about a month and a half, they declared war on me and joined the International. Well, I didn't have the troops to spare that, so I withdrew my forces that I had back to this territory right here, the tip of Bohemia, following up the river right here up to Wilhelmshaven and Bremen. I'd given up a lot of territory. Now, the event popped up where it was like they'll hold them at the Rhine, but that wasn't going to happen since the Swiss had already taken like almost all of Württemberg and Baden. But you would think that would have stopped them. It's like, okay, you've got relatively mountains, hills, hills, mostly hills, and then you got the river here. Wrong. Because of the relatively stagnant economy and not just getting enough to replace the consistent attacks, I ended up getting pushed back. So I did another fallback line back here to the river that runs from Hamburg all the way back over here to Dresden in this part of Bohemia. Now, I was holding that, and I was holding pretty darn well. The worst thing that could have happened decided to trigger. Keep in mind, Berlin's not captured. Over half of the country still is not captured. What triggers? Why, it's the event that says Germany has fallen. And I couldn't do anything. So I clicked the event, I took over Middle Africa and became the German government in exile. And it's like, I was accustoming for the loss of industry. I was doing good, actually, despite losing a little, almost about half of my country. But it's just it's just the way how the cookie crumbles. No really way to describe that. But nevertheless, it is what it is.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
I don't think these troops redeployed. Did I not do that right? I don't think, yeah, I didn't do that right. Shoot. Oh well. Anyways, this is just kind of like an introduction stuff. Usually what I do is pull all the troops here, and then I'll send like the garrison. I'll send like the garrison, like just 20 divisions, 2 for each port, and I'll cover all the ports. I'll send them all the garrison and stuff, and I'll reorganize these to infantry with artillery.